Good afternoon. This is Dr. Jonathan McKenzie speaking and coming to you this afternoon with a session on college match. I'm going to have a special guest to join us this afternoon who is one of my alumni and has come through the program, and I'm going to have him give his thoughts and comments to you as soon as he joins us. But we're going to go ahead and get started with this particular session and share some things with you that you will find helpful in making your decisions as to where you should go and why you should go to a particular college or university of your choice. And so with that being said, I'm going to share my computer screen and share with you this presentation that we have put together regarding the topic of college match. There's so many students who make the decision to enroll into a post-secondary institution, and they make that decision not necessarily based on sound research or a sound plan. And so what I want to do, I'm presenting this workshop so that you can make your decision as to where you enroll based on solid information, based on information that can benefit you in the near future and help you as you enroll into that post-secondary institution. So let's get after it. There are numerous schools that exist all across the country. In the United States, there are you have over 4,000 college options in the U.S. alone, and then there are another 13,000 with international, when we consider international institutions that you can attend. There are a lot of students who don't consider attending college outside of the United States, but there are schools that are located outside of the United States as well as in the U.S. territories, such as San Juan, Puerto Rico. There are a number of colleges there that you could attend. The cost of attending a school, one of the schools in Puerto Rico, is less than $10,000 per year. So it's something you should definitely consider and keep your options open and, make the right decision. All right, so let's look at some of the other things. When you are trying to choose the right college, there is no magic formula for choosing a college, but there are factors to consider on your journey to finding the right college fit for you. You want to find a college where you fit in. You want to find a college where you feel comfortable. It was Vincent Tinto who said that students, once they leave home and they leave one family, when they go to a post-secondary institution or a college or university of their choice, they have to find a school where they fit. They have to find a new family. And he said that if they don't find that new family or find a place where they feel like they fit in, they're going to commit what he calls anatomic suicide. It doesn't mean that they're going to kill themselves. It just means that they are going to leave. And most studies and statistics show that once a student leaves a college or university, they do not return. And so we want to make sure that you find the right place for you where you really fit in. Now, I've always been taught that better questions lead to better answers. So there's some questions that you should consider. One question is, what do you want to major in? Your major leads to a career. Every college does not offer the major that you may want that will lead to the career that you may want. So we want to make sure that we find a school that offers the major that you're interested in. What level of degree will you seek? Is it a first-time baccalaureate degree, which is a 4-year degree? Is it a graduate school degree? Do you plan on going to graduate school afterwards? That decision, the decision whether or not you are accepted into a graduate degree program, can sometimes depend on whether or not you attended the right undergraduate institution. So we need to have a conversation about your career choice and what your plans are, what type of degree you're going to be seeking. I'm going to give you some information on some websites that you can go to that can actually help you to choose the right degree. Number 3, how much will it cost to attend? These are questions that you need to consider. It could cost a lot of money. It may cost more than you actually have to pay. So we need to understand how much money are you willing to pay for your college degree. You have to also consider this question. This is a question that I asked my son prior to him enrolling into a post-secondary institution. I asked him, would you like to graduate with a high amount of debt, with minimal debt, or with no debt? The answer to this question will help you to determine what type of institution you should be trying to look for or trying to enroll in. And then we also want to look at school size. What's the size of the school? Some students do well at institutions that have thousands of students, 25, 30,000 students at the institution. They do very well. And there are others who prefer a more intimate setting, a smaller institution that may have 5 to 10,000 students. So what size school are you interested in? The other question to ask, are you interested in attending a public versus a private institution? Public institutions, are really nice institutions, but some of them are really big. And then there's some private nonprofit institutions that are really helpful as well. I like to use the terminology selective versus highly selective. Some of the highly selective institutions have more money, therefore, and they have financial aid policies that cater to students who want to avoid debt. So we need to find those different types of schools. So asking this question and finding the answer to it is really important because it can help determine, again, where you should attend. And then the other question that you should ask is, who can help me with this process? Where are the experts? Where are the coaches who can really help me with this process? We have experts and coaches at the Family Center, the educational agency, who can help you. We have people here who have been trained to do this work. They've been trained to help students to find colleges and universities to attend all across the country. We've sent students to Stanford. We've sent students to Harvard. We've sent students to Yale. We've sent students to Morehouse and to Spelman. And we've sent students to Illinois State, University of Illinois, and so on. And so find people who do this work. Don't allow your mom's beautician to tell you where you should go to school, right? That's not her specialty. That's not his or her specialty. You want to find someone who specializes in this work, who can actually help you. At the Family Centered Educational Agency, we have several programs. We have Upward Bound college prep readiness programs, and we also have educational talent search programs where there are representatives who can encourage you, direct you, and guide you to the right institution, and help you as well as assist you with the acquisition of financial aid. So better questions lead to better answers. Start with these questions when getting ready to conduct your college search. I would also, after you have asked those questions and you've written down your responses to those questions, you'll be prepared to start to access some of the websites that can really help you. One great website is a website called niche.com. And I'm going to click on this right now. And if we go to this particular website, it starts off with giving you a quiz about asking you different questions about your college search. Based on the questions that we asked earlier, you'll be able to answer these questions pretty quickly. I want to know whether you want to attend a big state school, a smaller public school, or a small liberal arts college. A liberal arts college is a college or university where you won't major in any particular major. You may not major in any particular major, but you'll receive your degree in liberal arts, where you get a little bit of everything. You get a really solid math foundation. You get a real solid language arts foundation and students who attend really good liberal arts colleges normally are students who are going on to graduate school or to law school or to, some other post baccalaureate degree program. And so you make a choice and a decision. And so I'm just going to I'll click Ivy League schools, and then it'll ask you your next question. Where do you want to go to school? And so you can decide New England, which is on the East Coast, or Mid-Atlantic or Midwest. Let's say we want to stay home, stay in the Midwest. We'll click that and then move to the next question. What do you want to study? You can click this and it'll drop down, and I'll show you that there are certain majors that pay more. Anything in the areas of STEM are really attractive majors. Corporations and companies are looking to hire people who are majoring in any of the STEM areas: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And so I'm just going to put down computer science for now. And they'll ask you about your ACT scores and your SAT scores. And we'll just say we're here in the middle, and click and say finish. And then it will calculate a list of colleges for you. It will also ask you for some demographic information like your name, birth date, email, password, and a password and all of that. And you click OK. It won't let you go forward with this if you haven't clicked those boxes. So you'll need to do that. And then they will get back to you and provide you with information. But this is a wonderful website because it has all kinds of information on college rankings. It will list 2021 college rankings, some of the best colleges, some of the best by major, some of the best by state. Great information to look at. And so you don't have to try to figure all of this out. If I just click best by major, and they'll say, hey, these schools here are known for engineering. Other schools are known for business management, computer science. That's why, again, it's important that you decide what it is that you would like to major in, because that's going to determine where you should try to attend. Okay. So this is just information here about this. And niche.com is a wonderful website. I believe that Deonte Tanner has joined us. Deonte, are you with us?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. I'm going to let you take a minute to, I know you just got in, so take a minute to get yourself together, and I'll come back to you shortly. I want you to hear from one of our alumni, one of our former students who has pursued his post-secondary degree, and he's pursued a graduate degree. Now he's pursuing his doctorate degree, but we'll come back to him. There's another site. I like to begin with assessments, right? And so we went to niche.com to do an assessment to find a particular type of college and to have them take a look at what our interests are. But also there's another site called Virtual Job Shadow. And Virtual Job Shadow is a career site. You may not know what you want to major in, but you may have an idea of what type of job you would like to have, what type of career you would like to have. And Virtual Job Shadow has a list of videos on all kinds of careers: an information security analyst, public relations coordinator, a dental hygienist. And you can watch any of those videos and they'll tell you all about that career. This site also has an assessment they provide for you where you can actually take a quiz or a career assessment. And upon taking that career assessment, it will give you information about, what you should consider majoring in. If you are a member of the Family Centered Educational Agency, our staff members will walk you through this particular website and help you with your career exploration. And then we will match that up with institutions of higher education that offer majors that lead to that particular career. Okay. So always start with the assessment process and then move into getting information from other sites. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute and ask Deonte just to come on. And I don't know if you're able to show your face, Deonte, with us here. Hey, you made it. Thanks for joining us. I met Deonte Tanner when he was a little bitty boy, a little bitty tyke, and he has now grown into a full-grown man, and he's doing some awesome things. Deonte, why don't you start by just introducing yourself and letting the audience know who you are and what high school did you attend, and where did you decide to go to college at?
Yeah, thanks, Doc. My name is Deonte Tanner. Born and raised in Southside Chicago in the Inglewood community. I went to elementary and middle school in the neighborhood as well as high school. I went to Harper High School, graduated in 2013. And then from there, I went on to Marquette University up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Majored in public relations with a minor in theology. And I know those two never make sense. But theology was a passion of mine, and public relations was something that I was trying within the School of Communication. And so from there, after graduating in 2017, I went on to DePaul University up in Lincoln Park and studied educational leadership, a master's in educational leadership, and then continued straight from there and enrolled into the PhD program, studying the same thing more extensively. And so that's me in an academic nutshell.
Yeah, let's go all the way back to Harper High School, because you had some decisions to make, when you were getting ready to graduate, and he's being a little modest. Deonte is also a Gates Millennium Scholar. And so he received the Gates Scholarship, which helped to pay for his college education. But Marquette was not necessarily the place where you were going to go. Tell us a little bit about that. And how did you come to the decision to decide that you would actually go to Marquette?
Yeah, I don't. So throughout the whole college admissions process and college visitations and the different workshops and things that people were having over the city, one, I had no clue where Marquette was even located. I had, if I didn't know where Marquette was located, I definitely didn't know where Milwaukee was. I had never heard of Milwaukee prior to attending the school. And so I think it was like in April of 2013, right, a couple months before graduation, I had took a visit to the University of Denver. Folks always say that, what were you doing on your way to Denver? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I was getting a lot of different, like letters in the mail, admissions letters. And I think Denver was probably like one of the first schools who had really stood out to me. And I always say, like, I wanted to go somewhere and do something different than what my peers were doing and what my older siblings had done. Where I got Denver from, that's a story I wouldn't even be able to tell because I don't know. And so so what happened with Denver was I reached out to them and I was like, I'm from Chicago. I never really flown anywhere. Do you guys have like a fly-in program that I can come visit your school? And they was like, no, unfortunately, we would have to do that for X amount of students, so we don't do that program. And I was like, all right, okay, cool. And so like a few weeks had went by, and then I was announced as a Gates Millennium Scholar. And one of my teachers at the time had took it upon himself to reach back out to Denver. And he was like, yeah, we have the student who reached out to you guys is now a Gates Millennium Scholar, and he want to visit your school. And so right then and there, I knew the power of like relationships, the power of scholarships, and the things that I didn't quite understand what it was going to do for me financially and physically and probably in every aspect of life throughout my collegiate career. But that was at that moment when Denver got that news, they flew me out. And they didn't just fly me out, they flew my teacher out with me. Uh, then they contacted a local hotel that was close by the school and got me and him a room for free too.
Wow.
And then when I went to Denver, of course, it was like a complete culture shock from the high altitude to the racial aspect of the school and the city. Um, then they had me meeting all the black administrators, of course, to make me feel a little more comfortable. And I remember just being out there like, this ain't a place I can see myself. It's like a good match for me. And so I had came back home, and then because I remember it was funny before that. Dr. McKenzie had took me up to Marquette, and that was the first time I visited Marquette. I think in early March for a scholarship, like essay writing competition. And that was my first time visiting Marquette, my first time visiting Milwaukee. And that was like the last time I had heard from them. So I was all focused on Denver. Like, I'm moving on with Denver. I haven't heard from Denver. And then Marquette had reached out right after I made my visit, after I returned from my visit with Denver. Marquette had reached out like, you've been accepted. And I remember it being like 2 or 3 months later, and I was wondering like, who is Marquette? I don't even remember applying to this school because the month I went and so much had transpired.
Right.
And so my first week on campus, my first day on campus, I realized that, you know, coming from a predominantly African-American high school where I was in the 99 percentile of the race, and I went to Marquette and I'm like the 9% now. And we were like stressed out, and I remember wanting to transfer, and not because I felt like I couldn't live up to the rigor or the academic aspirations that I had, but really because I didn't feel like I belonged culturally speaking. And so, of course, I had a talk with Dr. McKenzie. He said, "Well, you got to do a semester. You got the funding, you got the scholarship." So I wasn't worried about, you know, the financial problem, but he said, you know, you got to do at least a semester, and if you still don't like it, you can transfer, and I'll help you with that process. And so I went through the semester. You know, I had its ups and downs and traveling back and forth from home. But I had started to like it. I had started to adapt to a new culture. And then I realized that, you know, I wasn't trying to be the perfect fit and match for the school. I was allowing it to be that for me. And and I was mixing and integrating my culture within not just the school of Marquette, but the city of Milwaukee too. And so that's how I end up there and staying there.
Yeah. Well, that is awesome. That's an awesome story. I appreciate you sharing and being as candid as you were. I think that's the thing that a lot of students don't understand, is that you can't just see these schools on the computer and make a decision. You really need to try to go there and see the environment. Like you said, you made a connection not only with the university, but you made a connection with Milwaukee as well, the surrounding community. And, you know, that's a part of that fit that I was talking about, that you know, in order for you to feel comfortable there, you got to feel like you fit in. And so you found a new family to fit in with, and you decided to stay. What advice would you give to rising seniors who are getting ready to make these decisions about where they should go? What advice would you give them about this process?
Yeah, something that really helped me, and I never try to objectify something that's subjective, because I realize that what might work for me might not work for others. But I think some general advice that we both can agree with is one, take your time, be patient, be mindful that the process is definitely rigorous to a point. Some things seem as a hassle or headache, but knowing that you got a support system, I think is really important to establish that at home before you branch off into these different coaches in college environments. I would say, especially in senior year, apply for as many scholarships as you can to lower the potential loans that most folks have to take out. I think maximizing on the any opportunity to get the cost of attendance lower is a great thing, because it takes off that financial burden, which is really heavy for a lot of minority students when they enter these universities and colleges. I would definitely say stay consistent, persistent, be resilient. A rejection offer is just another opportunity for an admitted offer. Some schools might look good on paper, but they might not be a good match, or they might not be a good fit. And so look at it as an opportunity to expand, and a plan B or a plan C. Always have those in mind. You got your first choice, your second choice, your third choice, and look at the different fits and the different matches, and see where you align, see what you expect from the school, because schools always expect a lot from the student. And if that's not reciprocated, then you will find yourself struggling, academically and emotionally and mentally, like a lot of minority students do. And so keeping those things in mind, and realizing that, regardless of where you're from, what you've been through, someone who doesn't know you is watching you. And so, and that says that, most people look at that's a lot of pressure.
Right.
But it's good pressure, because you don't know these folks. And so you're not really setting out to prove anything necessarily. But that someone is watching you as the example of, no matter where this person came from, no matter their background, age, income, socioeconomic status, whatever, they've graduated from secondary and enrolling to a post-secondary institution. So that would be my advice to rising seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. It's never a such thing as it's too early to take things like this seriously. And
you dropped some really good nuggets, man. I mean, you touched on so many different positive points until I couldn't write them all down. But there are two that I want to revisit. You said you had to make sure that you had a good support system back home. And we know why that's important, because people at home, they got your best interests at heart. They can get to you. They can help you out if something goes down, on the college campus, and they can really be supportive of you. But what about your support system at the school? Did you have to establish a support system there? And if you did, how did that work out?
Yeah. So coming from high school, valedictorian, I thought I had it all figured out. Or as Doc say, I thought I was all letting the bag of chips. and I had a reality check immediately, like my first exam on campus. I had failed, and it was like the first exam I had ever failed in my life. Wow. And so I remember just walking back from getting the results from the class and walking back to the dorm and really beating myself up like, am I not cut out, for the rigor of this, or did my high school fail me, or, what was the problem? Then I realized that, I was on the top of everything in high school, and the expectations and the rigor and the course load and all that was different. At this university level. And so I made the decision to either give in and transfer and say, well, I go to a better school that I think I can excel at,
Mm-hmm.
or I made the decision to switch up some of my habits, get rid of bad habits. Like in high school, I didn't really have to study. I had it all figured out. I was passing with A's were easy. It was really
Mm-hmm.
easy. And so once I got there, um, I realized that I have to study. Not only do I have to study, I have to study differently.
Mm.
And then
Wow.
I realized that one, the studying methods that I had still weren't working. So now I got to get a study group. I got to find somebody. And so what happened with my situation was that some of the guys who stayed in my dorm were
Mm-hmm.
also in my classroom that I was failing in. And I would always ask them, like, what you guys get on the exam? And they would pass it with like high B's and low A's. And I was like, okay, I can either just keep being prideful and saying, I'm going to figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
or I realized that, my way of doing it, from high school just isn't going to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to swallow my pride and say, you guys mind like helping me study? Because I think
Wow.
what I'm doing is wrong, and they was like, sure. And so we end up pulling what we call all nighters. And they had the content figured out. And that's one thing I liked about the support system I had established is that they had the content figured out, and they could have kept trying to memorize the things for themselves or try to better
Mm-hmm.
themselves. But instead they took the time as a friend and said, hey, we realized we already passed. We got a good friend who's asking for help. Um, and they were willing to teach me and tutor me in that subject. And so really what they were doing was just quizzing me like the old fashioned way, no cards. What's this?
Mm-hmm.
What's this definition?
Mm-hmm.
And we did this the night before the exam. I went in there, took the exam, and came out with like an 86, a high B. And that was
Wow.
my first pass in that semester. And I had already taken 4 exams. And so I realized that, okay, in order to make it, I got to change up some things. I got to change
Mhm.
up some ways, change up some mindsets,
Yeah.
some mechanisms. And I realized that it was going to better me as a person. So I wasn't taking a loss by asking for help, like
Hmm.
most of us are scared to do so. I
Right.
was really taking a
Yeah.
leap of faith, and it worked out in my favor. And so, having established that my freshman year made it easier for me to go out, to go through the rest of the years at Marquette,
Mhm.
and not so much thinking about, oh, I'm excelling because of this group, but more so it was a shift in my mindset, um, and I guess you can call it working smart and not so much working hard.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that aspect was good for me.
Yeah, yeah. I like that term, a shift in your mindset, because even now, with this pandemic and COVID and this crisis situations that we find ourselves in, people who are struggling, businesses who are struggling, institutions that are struggling are all the ones who have not shifted their mindset. They're still trying to do things the same way that I always did it, but the dynamics have changed. And whenever the dynamics change, like your location, you're not in Inglewood, you're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, you're not at Harper, you're at Marquette University. So the dynamic changed, and you had to shift in that thinking, and that was awesome. And you had to embrace some people who didn't look like you.
Yeah.
And that's a piece that a lot of students struggle with not being able to do that. And so I'm glad you came like the prodigal son. I'm glad you came to yourself and was put your pride behind you and asked for the help and the assistance that you needed. And we see what happened. We see the results. You're now close to being Dr. Tanner, and that's awesome. The other thing you said that I really liked, you said that it's okay to have multiple plans. Don't just put all your eggs into one basket. Don't just put all your eggs in Colorado State University or in Morehouse or Yale or Spelman, but have multiple plans. I see young people, a lot of students do that. They say, hey, this is the only school that I'm going to go to. I'm not going anywhere else. And there's so many, again, dynamics change, and some schools give you the money that you need. Some schools don't. Some schools will accept you and some schools won't. And so if you have plans, multiple plans, you can do multiple things. Great advice. Great advice. I'm so glad you were able to join us this afternoon and share these golden nuggets with students. I'm going to make sure that we record this session and we're going to send it back out to thousands of students all across the country so that they can hear your words and your words of wisdom and make good choices and good decisions. So, hey, man, thank you for joining us and sharing this information. We appreciate it. We're going to get back with you later on and share some other things with others in other workshops and other, blogs and other sessions. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. You can hang on if you want to and watch the rest of this presentation, or you can go ahead and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. But thank you for joining us. All right, so I'm going to finish sharing my screen here. There are other sites where you can get information that can be helpful to you. One of the sites is unigo.com, which they deal with College Match. And if you look at this site, they have information on online colleges or colleges such as I can't say what that get matched to colleges. You can click here and take assessments. You can click here and explore all colleges. You can explore colleges by the state that you're located in. So unigo.com is a wonderful site. Also, they have access to other scholarships. You can explore scholarships. You fill out information, put information here in this site, and they will match you up with scholarships, right? There are certain Unigo scholarships that are available, as well as $10,000 scholarships. Deonte Tanner talked about searching for awards and money and trying to get scholarships. And so this is a site that can help you a lot. They even give you information on student loans. I will say this about student loans. It's probably one of the worst loans that you can kind of try and borrow, which is a student loan. And there are all kinds of articles in here on this site. Expert admissions advice, get ready for college advice, how to pay for college, in college tips, etc. Those things are on this particular site. So that is Unigo. And then there's another site called the College Scorecard. I love this site. I love this site because once you've found that set of institutions that you like, you can start to search for schools. And so I'm just going to put in here Northwestern. Just say if someone's interested in Northwestern University, we put this in here and let's see what comes up. This site gives you all kinds of information on the colleges that you're interested in. And first and foremost, they first of all start talking to you about the graduation rate. This graduation rate at Northwestern is 94%, which is really high. They give you information on salary after completing college. The ranges from a minimum of $20,000, which, if you're a music major, baccalaureate degree is about $20,000. But if you're a computer science major, the earning possibilities are almost six figures, right? The average annual cost after the acquisition of financial aid out-of-pocket cost is about $24,800. So again, you can look at those things. You can look at retention, graduation and retention rates. First year students coming back about 98%. On average, in most states, in the state of Illinois, the average number of first year students who return after the first year is only about 65%. So 98% is extremely high as well. I'm going to look at the money, financial aid and debt. You can see that although it costs a lot to attend this institution, only about 16% of those who are attending are actually borrowing federal loans. So It's not that many, almost less than 10% are having to borrow money. It could be because of the financial aid policy of the institution. So it's always good to know what the policy of the institution is. And so these are things that you should look at on this particular site, because it provides you with that actual information about colleges. There are other sites such as QuestBridge. This site, questbridge.org. Again, they have all kinds of information, who should apply, how to apply for National College Match scholarships, college prep scholars, uh, Quest Excellence Awards, humanity. You can win awards and different things of that nature from this particular site. But you can just watch videos also on College Match and etc. And so, wonderful site to take a look at. And then there's also the College Board, which also has a match component where they can help you to find a school of your choice. You can search by location, major, the type of institution, and campus life. You can read all about it on the College Board site. And then finally, our site, the Family Centered Educational Agency, you can find out more information about colleges, about scholarships by going to our site. You can go here and you can sign up and complete an application. You can have someone to actually walk with you and work with you while you pursue, conduct your college search. We also have something called an online academic coach. I love this particular component of the website because with the online academic coach, you can obtain all kinds of information and guidance on regarding college success, college entry, high school graduation, tools that can help you with all of these things. You just simply click on one of these columns, and then you have all kinds of information about high school graduation, things that help you to graduate from high school. Or if you click on the college success um, module, you can click scholarships, and you can search for different scholarships. And we have different scholarships that are posted here, but you can also information about those scholarships. And there are all kinds of, each of these are like mini workshops that you can actually engage in. You can learn about college work study, which is a federal award. And it helps you to actually pay things, 8 things you should know about federal work study, frequently asked questions about federal work study. All of that information is there for you 24/7, 365. You can access it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of a year. So Unigo, College Scorecard, QuestBridge, College Board, and the Family Centered Educational Agency. All sites that can give you information. If I were to sum up everything, I would simply say, again, make sure that you get help. Don't try to do this process by yourself. Ask others to help you. Work with others. Take quizzes, take assessments to determine your interests, your values, your skill set. Take a career interest inventory to help you hone in on the particular career you want, as well as the major that's needed in order to engage in that career. All right, this has been Dr. Jonathan McKenzie coming to you with a workshop on College Match. I hope you found it helpful. If we can be of further assistance, you can contact us at Family Centered Educational Agency here at 16241 Wausau Avenue, South Holland, Illinois, 60473. Or you can visit us on our website, familycentered.org. Or you can email me at drjmckenzie@familycentered.org. Thank you and have a great day.